All right, so from that video, and those of you playing along at home, what you missed was a PBS Math Club video of what is an integer. That video is in that folder. It's actually the top one. And we're going to write down a little note in that graph paper, which honestly I'm going to write in my graph paper because when people are sick and they come ask me what they missed, this helps me be able to remember. So on that graph paper, and it could be same page or it could be different page than what we've been doing. So I had my conversions, and hopefully you had your conversions, but I have a few more that I want to write down because I missed the other ones tomorrow. So maybe I'm going to get a new piece of graph paper, which maybe I have to go get a new piece of graph paper. Lucky I have some behind my desk. Integer. Anyone able to tell me from that video, and guys, yes, this is very similar to what we've been doing in foundations. And sometimes there's no real header, and we just kind of put a date on our paper. So like today is 9/27, so if you just wanted to kind of put a date. Integer. What did they tell us integers are?
So have you
Yes.
chosen the page for this? I know you did, but like...
It's up to you. These are your notes, right? What we're practicing in foundations is like taking effective notes, and it's also what I'm trying to like incorporate into my class. I would underline the int. The int. Integers. The easiest way to define them, not int, but ent. They are entire values. Positive, negative, 0, all of those are fine to be integers, but no partial numbers. So no decimals, no fractions, no decimals, no fractions. And then we could put a couple examples of integers. So like positive 5, negative 7, positive 8,642. 0 is even an integer. And then my little memory trick for integers. No, I don't know that you need a trick. So integers are entire values. So, well, not unfortunately, but you're ready to start working with more than just integers. So if we go to 42, in A, are these numbers integers? In A. Yes. In B, are those numbers integers? No. Because they involve decimals, right? They involve the 0.25 or 0.7 or 0.5, 0.1, 0.05. Any of those are not integers. So we're now moving on to, beyond integer, the next set of numbers that's slightly more difficult maybe. And guys, this you really want to have written down because like this is one of those new things you're learning this year. Rational numbers. And the root of rational is ratio. Rational numbers, and I'm going to try to make your life easier, right? Numbers, hashtag means numbers. Well, hashtag means number. Numbers that can be, not that they have to be right now, but can be, sorry, that's two words, but they're a little close together, can be written as A over B, where of course A and B are numbers. So examples of rationals. Now, could 5 be written as a fraction? Could 5 be written as a fraction? Yes, I could write 5 over 1. So if it's an integer, it counts as a rational, right? All integers are rationals. But give me a rational that's not an integer. Somebody give me an example of a rational that's not an integer.
3/7.
Sure, 3/7. Somebody else, give me another. Safe.
1,100.
But that's an integer.
Oh yeah, my bad. 2/3.
Sure. Can anyone give me not a fraction? I know it says can be written as a fraction. Donna?
Like 0.789.
Yeah. 0.789. That would be a rational. Can rationals involve negatives? Like, could I write a negative as a fraction? Yeah, so what about like negative? Yeah, so like negative 3/4. Or when she was talking about going to the mall and owing her friend $50, negative 50. Because if it's an integer, it is also a rational.
Well, how's 5/1?
Because that's a ratio, 5-1. If I'm giving each of you 5 pieces of candy, my ratio is 5-1. 5 pieces for every one student.
So what's the not
What is not a rational? There's not many numbers that are not
rational?
rational.
So literally like.
So one number that is not rational, actually I love that question.
It's like, what if I like, I don't like. So I was thinking of the example that you just got, like, if it was like,
So hold on.
Be a whole number, so it would have to be 7.
Well, so your whole numbers, you're going backwards back into elementary. Whole numbers were like back in elementary. Actually, whole numbers are kind of in between. Whole numbers are integers, just none of the negatives. So if you want to make a little note, guys, whole numbers are just don't use the negatives. So whole numbers are no negatives, right? It has to be whole numbers and no negatives.
I mean, it would have to be like 8/7 or 7/7, not 5/7.
For rational or integer, or what are you talking about? Rationals, anytime you can put a number over a different number, and any decimal, we can put that over another number. We've been practicing tenths, hundredths, thousands. So hold on. The next thing that I wasn't necessarily going to teach, but because you asked the question, anyone know what root means not? Anyone know what root means not, and it starts with an I? If somebody tells you you're not regular or not
Irregular. Oh.
irrational, ir meaning not. So an example of irrational numbers, pi. That's the only example you need to know right now. Pi cannot be represented by a fraction. And the other problem with pi, this isn't even a thousandth of pi. This isn't even a millionth of pi. This isn't even close to any part of pi, because quite frankly, pi goes on forever.
Does?
Yeah. Pi is still being calculated. Pi has no end. There are computers all over the world that are continuing to calculate digits of pi.
What is pi?
It is the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter, but we're not doing circles right now. If you want an example of a not rational number, pi. But most numbers are rational. Most numbers are rational. There's some other ones we'll get into, but I don't want to confuse you right now. So all of this to say, we're now working with rational numbers. I want you and your partner to take a couple minutes to try to do these additions. Guys, my advice, like they were talking in the video about like the force and the evil and the good and bad. My advice, kind of like what you would see in like a superhero movie, is if we're going to have a battle, the good guys normally go stand with the good guys, and the bad guys normally go stand with the bad guys, and then they fight, right? There's got to be that epic scene where they all run at each other. So if I was you, I would team up your good guys first, team up your bad guys, and then have the good guys fight the bad guys. Take a couple minutes to get a head start. We'll do these together, but take a couple minutes to get a head start on me. Try these out. You should at least be able to do A.
Do you have to like write out the problem?
No, this is on your page. This is on 222. This is on 222. It's right here. I mean, and well, this is on 222. Right, this is on 222. The paper you got yesterday. This is on 222. Right. It's on your paper from yesterday. Right? On 222. Yeah. Alright, you got 222, guys? Our phone's got 222. You got yours? Alright, it's on there, so you don't have to copy down the whole thing.
Oh, this is not graph paper.
It's on 222. We'll start with 5 times.
But, whoa. Which one is that? So, 12 plus 7 is 19.30 plus negative 1.75 to 9.30 minus 75 equals, yeah, you just get rid of the plus and then the negative.
That just reminds me of Rugrats, honestly, but I can't let that play because that is not my content. I need to pause my recording. Alright, time for random cards. Who started the week? Anyone remember whose card, like I said, I'm not going to shuffle till I get back to? We've probably made it all the way through the deck. But anyone remember? Okay, well, then I'm not going to shuffle yet. So
Like the first person to get
I
called
may
on?
have tried to, Raven, but you might have been out of the room getting ice.
Oh, yeah,
You did.
So, Sam, is there any teaming up that we need to do before we have our back?
A?
Yes, in A.
Yeah, 8 plus
So we're gonna team up our good guys, and guys, you can grab highlighters if you want to like color code this stuff. So 8 plus 2. Hey, we're coming back together to make sure we did this all right. So at this point, like I love if you're still working, but we should probably stop talking so we can all be on the same page. All right, so now 10, good guy 10 is gonna battle bad guy 3. Sophie, what's your thought? Who's gonna win here, good guy or bad guy? The 10. Guys, here's my trick. I need a better word than trick. But like, anytime we're working on adding and subtracting, like I've been doing this for 12 years. The way that has worked the best for people is ask yourself, in this situation, I'm paying attention to who's not paying attention. First, ask yourself who wins, the positive or the negative. And I'm going to make a little note, whether it's mental or physical on the paper, the positive is going to win. Lady with me at all?
Yeah.
And then I ask myself, how much stronger is the positive? And then I'm just comparing 10 and 3. So how much stronger is 10 compared to 3? 7. So you can do this a different way if you like a different way better, but that's my strategy. Team up, good with good, bad with bad, and then have the fight. Sophia?
Only, isn't it the one who, like, so 10 is more than negative 3?
If you want the rules, they're over there, but I'm trying to give you good memory tricks.
I just said, like, but if it was like 10 and it was negative 17, 17.
We're going to do more examples. Quit with the what if when I'm still in the middle of teaching. In B, Carolina, do we have, I don't know how your guys' cards are right next to each other. Do we have any teaming up that needs to happen? Yeah, the 12.7 or 12.25 and the 7.5. So when we team up those positives, what do we get?
19.30.
19 point,
30.
no.
Why not?
75.
Oh,
75.
Because this is 5, or if we want to make it the same amount of decimal places, we could add a 0 after it. That's not 0.05, it's 0.50. So guys, double check your addition. Did you get 19.75? Then plus negative 1.75.
18.
So who's going to win, good guy or bad guy? Good guy by how much? 18. Because guys, I would get rid of the 0.75 first, and then get rid of the 1. Right, that knocks us back down to 18. Matt in C, can you walk me through what to do? It's all good if you haven't finished it. So, question 1: is there teaming up that we need to do? Maybe. So we got positive, good guy, bad guy, bad guy. Do we need to put anyone together? We can put the bad guys together, right? So let's team those up. I'm going to drop down my 6.1 that doesn't change. That's not what I want. That's what I want. 6.1 plus negative. What's this become? Negative 5.
5.05.
Guys, we need to practice these. If you are not having yourself practice this, you're selling yourself short. Because practicing adding 0.05 and this is 5 hundredths. This is 5 hundredths. What do I get when I add 5 hundredths with 5 hundredths? 10 hundredths, which is 0.1. So then we got a battle to wage. Who's going to win here? Good guy or bad guy?
Good guy.
By how much? Ooh, it's getting closer. All right, good guys have been on a roll right now. Jane, what about part D? Do we have any teaming up to do? No, we're just ready for the fight, right? Now, is there anything else you would do before the fight? With us having mixed numbers, with us having fractions, anything else you would do? Absolutely. You want to pass it to Donna because it seems like she wants to answer.
We have to turn the 1 half into 2 fourths. We can add them.
So either we got to switch to common denominators or decimals. You could switch to decimals if you like decimals here. But negative 1 and 1/4 plus 8 and how many fourths would this be? 2 fourths, right? Because we double the top and double the bottom. With your partner, figure out who wins and by how much. Because I want us to practice working the fraction problems.
So,
You're right, it's your fault. You're going to work on your own time. This is my time. Ooh, so Sophia brought up we could do improper fractions. If you want to do improper fractions, Sophia did negative, so 1 times 4 plus 1, negative 5 fourths, 8, 16, 32, 34. So guys, improper fractions is a great way to make sure that we don't mess up with the mixed numbers. Because guys, mixed numbers are tricky. I will tell you, mixed numbers are tricky. So if I have a negative 5 and a positive 34, who's going to win, the negative or the positive?
positive.
The positive by how much?
9.
29 fourths. And then how do we get it back into mixed? Well, how many 4s fit into 29?
7.
And what's left over?
1.
7 and 1/4. Or if you went decimals, 7.25. Or 7 and 25 hundredths. If you want to say it Questions? Try the last two with you and your partner.
Alright, so
I should change the
I'll do what I got.
Let's do it. We have to have these. Okay. How do you get 24?
You can use calculators if you want, but I would encourage you to try to do it in your head first, then grab the calculator.
Okay, it's gonna be something
Down by the desk. Remember, negative is a different button than minus.
Is it actually?
Yes. Why would I say something that is not true? The negative is down beside the decimal.
Okay.
Why would I tell you something that isn't true?
I just never knew it was there.
Yeah, but we're stuck at 6. Well, you just need to add 2 zeros to make the decimal over here is 465 minus 600.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Hudson, I need help.
Good thing you have a partner.
I need help from you.
I don't think you do. Bethany, has Emery asked you for help yet?
Bethany, do you know how to subtract 600 from 465?
Yeah, I already had it.
It might be broken. Yeah, get it out of the calculator. Some of these just are broken. Like they're just getting old. Hey Matt, how is what you're doing helping you do math? Like, do I have to actually like babysit you and correct your behavior? We're only in here for 40 minutes. I'm only asking for 40, and by the time we actually get going, it's only really like a half an hour of class. Yep, this is going in the garbage. I'm done fighting. Guys, if your calculator does not seem to be working right, it's a piece of technology. It can break. Like, your calculator can break. If it seems to not be working right, it might be broken. Eli, what would you tell someone to do first in part E? Yeah, team up our good guys, right? It's a great car show every summer. Good guys car. So what do we, 14 and 10 is 24, and I think my decimals are small enough I'm safe to go ahead and write the 24. Guys, if you need practice adding decimals, this 14 is really going to turn into like 140, right? Because the 0.14 and the 0.325, I got to line them up. So then 5, 6, 4, so I think 24.465. Yeah? Okay, math is hard, so I mean, I always double check to make sure. But and the bad guy, 13.6. Make sure we write the negative in there. Jack, who's going to win here? Good guy or bad guy? Good guy. Okay. Pause what you're doing and look up here real quick. If I say good guy's going to win, what is 24 minus 13 might be what I do first. Right, okay, that's 11. But, guys, this is where you might make your mistake that I'm hoping we'll avoid. Raiden, you with me? Because you're way back there. The good guy's going to win. He's stronger. So the subtraction that I'm trying to do is 465 minus the 0.6. Can I do that? No. Not really. So I'm going to need 1 out of the 24, or 1 out of here. Like, this is going to end up being negative if I try to do this, because it's really 600. Right? So I got to borrow. I got to make this 14. Right? So if we turn our 11 into a 10, now I can pull that 1 over here and actually do that subtraction. I gotta borrow all the way over, right? Or no, 5 minus 0, I can do that. 6 minus 0. But now, 14 minus 6.
So you have to get the 1 and cross it out and give it to the 4.
8. Yeah, because really we do that and borrow, so it's 14. So that now is what we still have. 10.865. Now, if you throw it in a calculator, obviously you should get that. But guys, there will be times when I ask you to do things without a calculator. Just double check that you remember how to do these things. We don't do it a lot, but sometimes we got to practice without a calculator. F, we would need common denominators, but we're going to skip over F because I'm starting to run out of time. Do not even close to pack up. I have like 10 minutes left. But I want to show you one more video that I will end up adding to the school.